What's happening, people? I hope you're all well. So, this weekend, Fabio Wardley versus Frazer Clarke. And this fight is an intriguing fight because, let's face it, you have a complete novice who's overachieving versus a well schooled amateur Olympic medalist. Now, on paper, you would look at that and you would say, well, it's clearly obvious that the Olympic medalist is going to beat the complete novice who comes from a white collar background and hasn't even had an amateur fight. But boxing isn't fought on paper, boxing's fought in the ring. And in the ring, Fabio Wardley looks to be bringing something that you can't teach, nurture, or train. You either have it or you don't. Frazer Clarke, on the other hand, is ticking all the boxes, but he's not getting an exemplary assessment mark, or he's basically not shining. Excuse me, it's the morning, I'm still waking up, you have to bear with me, but you know what I'm trying to say here. Frazer Clarke, he's ticking all the boxes, but he's not exactly excelling in any area. So when I look at that, sometimes it can make a fight competitive when it shouldn't be competitive. Now, I am of the impression that Fabio Wardley, although he brings something that hasn't been seen before, although he is overachieving, a bit of a Cinderella man, overachieving. You know, he's beating people like who are the guys he's beat? He's beat Simon Vallily, who many would say he hasn't done anything as a pro, but you know he was a good amateur. He's beaten Michael Polite Coffee, who sprung an upset back in the States. Eric Molina, I know Eric Molina, people might not think much of him, but he's an experienced campaigner. He beat Nathan Gorman, who, in my opinion, he shouldn't have even won that fight because on paper, again, it looks like a fight he has no business winning. So he keeps overachieving, but eventually I think he's going to come unstuck. And I think it's going to be in spectacular fashion. I think that he could find himself on the canvas from a novice mistake. It hasn't happened yet. Maybe it's happened in sparring, but I think that that is the eventuality. Whether it happens in this fight or not, I don't know. Frazer Clarke, he doesn't look spectacular, but he's doing everything right. He's got a very workman-like energy to him. And if you actually look at the amateur career, although he was a very experienced campaigner, he wasn't the cream of the crop. And perhaps that's why he stuck around for so long, because he wanted to give himself that opportunity. Maybe his best years were in the amateurs. Time will tell. But you cannot discount the fact that he's been in there with Bakadir Jalilov, he's been in there with Guardio Vianello, he fought Anthony Joshua in the amateurs, and the list goes on. So this fight, I think Fabio Wardley has a good chance in this fight, but I cannot discount an early stoppage for Frazer Clarke because of the amateur pedigree. If Frazer Clarke needs to keep a discipline. Frazer Clarke needs to fight almost on autopilot, amateur, well schooled. That is the avenue that he needs to go down. He needs to go down that route. Don't be ambitious. Just stick behind the jab. You're 1-2, in and out, jab, jab, jab to the body, setting up the right hand over the top. He just needs to keep it ABC boxing, because as we saw Anthony Joshua going and fighting Francis Ngannou, Anthony Joshua was just keeping it boxing. And that's what you do when you fight someone who's crude, who's novice-y. You don't give them the one opportunity they have to win the fight by bringing the fight to them. No, you just get behind your boxing. And that's what Anthony Joshua did against Francis Ngannou. Tyson Fury tried to put his stamp on Francis Ngannou and found himself on the canvas. You fight someone who's got lacking experience, but perhaps has that attribute that is just by nature, you get behind your boxing and you stick to it. So I think that, apologies for the line if it flickers, I've just noticed that. So Frazer Clarke needs to stick to his boxing, in my opinion. Whereas Fabio Wardley needs to bring Frazer Clarke to a fight. He needs to draw Frazer Clarke into a fight. Fabio Wardley's got two great attributes that you cannot teach. He seems to have natural punching power, which I doubted at the start. I thought his power was maybe a bit overrated. But it seems to be for real, especially after that David Adelaide fight. And he also seems to have a knack of hurting fighters when he's hurt. Almost like Nigel Benn. So you need to look at that. So Frazer Clarke, if he hurts Fabio Wardley, he needs to go for it, but be circumspect. You know, if he's not ready to go, don't take him out. But Fabio Wardley, he seems to be dangerous when hurt, and he seems to have power. You can't teach that. So what I'm thinking in this fight is that Fabio Wardley needs to draw in Frazer Clarke. And yes, that might end up in a knockout defeat, but it also presents him with his best opportunity to let off his attributes. Frazer Clarke needs to stick to his boxing. Who do I think is going to win if you put a gun to my head? If you put a gun to my head, I've bet against Fabio Wardley so many times and he keeps proving me wrong. But I think this may be a step too far, and I'm going to be picking Frazer Clarke to win this fight. That's my opinion. But if I'm wrong, I'm not going to be surprised at all, because Fabio Wardley keeps being that guy that proves me wrong. But I just have this feeling that someday he's going to come unstuck and it's going to be a novice mistake, and it could be a knockout and it could be early. That's my opinion. I've got nothing against either of these guys. Respect to both guys. This is just my objective analysis. What do you guys think? Let me know. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, hit the notification bell so you get a notification when I make a new video. If you appreciate my work and want to leave a donation, then there's a link for that in the description as well. And with that, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you on the next video.